Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to the Street University. Today, what's today? Today is Tuesday,
Tuesday 20th.
20th of April, uh, in the year 2021. You are very, very welcome to this session today. It's going to be something. We have a very special guest right here with us. Very, very special guest here that's going to totally make you rethink a lot of things. So who is here? Let me know who is here. Come on, register your presence, and you know what? Just get people here because today we are going to talk with our own Thomas Edison in here in Africa. So you better just begin to get people here quickly. Get people here very, very, very quickly. It's going to be hello, Edna. Hello, Stella. You see, these are the people that make me happy. I know if there's only a handful of people, you'll be there. But today you are going to be so blessed. Oh my God, you are going to be so blessed because the person that we have here today is going to totally blow your mind, man. Totally blow your mind. Our very own. Uh, Hello, Dorcas. You're welcome. Mm. Great, 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 great. So let's welcome people. This is our own Africa's answer to America's Thomas Edison. I am so serious. You guys probably think I'm joking. Sarah, how are you? It was wonderful having the session with you yesterday, Sarah. Amazing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I mean, this is awesome. I get so inspired when I see great African stories. Hello, Ken. You are welcome. You are welcome. I get so inspired when I see great African stories, and the truth is this. Let me tell you the truth. Nobody is going to tell our stories like we can tell our stories. Stories between the lion and the hunter will always be in favor of the hunter until the lion begins to tell stories. And that's why we need to tell our own stories. And that's why we are here. Let's tell our own stories. Let's reimagine ourselves. Let's reimagine Africa as a continent, because all my life I have heard of Africa's potential. A time comes when we need to get tired of hearing about potential. A time comes when we need to absolutely get tired of just hearing about potential, and we now need to start maximizing, and we need to begin to see the outcome of the potential, what potential has made for us. So we have 60 seconds left before flag off. So please make sure you have everybody you need here to be here, and let them know that you're going to see another pandemic stream, another business that took a whole new dimension as a result of the pandemic. And those are the things that inspire me, totally inspire me. And why do I want you to listen to these stories? Is so that you can hear something. Maybe you had been thinking about something and you didn't know how to kick off, and you hear stories like this. Suddenly you get inspired. You get inspired. Hello, Bridget, all the way from Qatar. Karibu, you're very welcome. Mm. So very important. You watch something and then you realize, what's stopping me? What is stopping me? Now, my guest today is someone I've known for a very long time. And uh, he is the CEO of Plexus Energy. Plexus Energy. Let's welcome to the Street University, Edward Kinyajui. Let's welcome him. Hello, Edward.
Hi, Dr. Ari, and hello, everyone.
You know, I was trying to remember right now. I mean, we've come from far.
Yes, right from Safari, eye to eye, coffee
Oh, my.
with Dr. Ari. Yes.
We have come from far. You know, we repackaged the eye to eye program, and that's what we now call Reimagine Yourself.
Okay.
Tell me, how was your eye to eye experience, your Inspire to Inspire experience? Because, you know, you did that and you just kept doing everything we had to offer.
Yes. I joined Inspire to Inspire in the middle of a transition time for me. I've been working in corporate world and gone into business back in 2010, and I started reading the articles that you were publishing in the Nation. And then I remember one of the articles you mentioned that you do coffee with Wale. I think it used to be on a Thursday or a Friday at KICC.
Thursdays,
yes. So when I attended one, quite a number of the coffee, then I heard about the eye to eye. And by that time, I was definitely, it's what I was looking for. So for me, at that point, was a transition time. I'd been in business for 4 years. Things were not really working out. I could see there are ways that this business has a future, but of course, feeling the pressure of not having money. And one of the single most things that the Inspire to Inspire did for me was to first sit in a room with quite a number of the people in that room were entrepreneurs, and hear that some of the problems are going is what everyone is going through. So it told me that there's nothing wrong. It's part of the process. This is how it works out. Before a child can walk, he will stand and fall several times. The falling is not a mistake. It's part of the learning.
So tell me, Edward, what were you doing before then? You say you were in employment. What were you doing?
Yeah. So my background was in finance. I had trained as an accountant. I worked for several companies. I started off with the Samia Group. Then I worked for Heritage Hotels. And my last position, I was working for Kenya Data Networks, now Liquid Telecom, where I had gone to the level of the Chief Finance Officer. And in 2008, the company was sold to Altec of South Africa. And that is the point where I decided now it's time for me to move on. The entrepreneur bug was hitting. And end of 2010, I resigned and plunged into business. And my choice of industry was totally different from what I'd trained, because I ventured into the renewable energy space. And hence the difficulty in starting. Because
so what made you go into that space and not something you were already accustomed to?
So what happened when I was in the telecom world, we used to lose a lot of revenue due to power outages. So we would have, say, Western region would be passing credit notes to our resellers who are internet service providers, purely not because the service was not available, but because power was not available. And then there were only options to back up power was buy a diesel generator to give backup to that region. And some areas where the revenue was not very high, it was not viable to put the generators. So what we would do is to live with the best effort power supply that we were getting. But in the process, for me being in finance, I could see the amount of money we were losing. And this, I kept on thinking, if somebody looks for a solution around this, I think there is a ready customer. Because if somebody had approached us saying that we can be able to sort your power needs, we would have bought from where I was sitting. So when I started off the business, my first customer was my former employer, and
Oh,
he still is till
wow.
today. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, what were your fears at the point, or did you have any fears at the point when you were going to make that transition? Because I know a lot of people who want to make that transition, but they seem to be stuck in between. Well, did you have any fears? And if so, what were they and how did you overcome them?
Yes, of course, I had a lot of fears, and the first one is going away from a regular paycheck. Uh, the business world, nobody guarantees you anything. At least in the employment, you are assured that at the end of the month, even if the employer does not have money, he will sort out the cash flow. As long as I have done my bit of what is required to be done, there's some security that I'm going to get a salary at the end of the month. That was fear number one. Fear number two was, and you cannot believe this, was what are people going to say? What is my family going to say? I remember I did not tell my dad that I have quit my job for almost 6 months, because he comes from the old school of thought that go to school, get a good job, work hard, get promoted, and retire there. So for him, having guided me, got into a job, rising through the ranks, I was, of course, one of his. He would keep telling his friends how his son is doing well. Now today, I decided to go and tell him that I've decided to quit my job and go into business. For him, business was the people who did not have anything else to do. So, so that was also a very big fear. And then number three is we've seen people start business and fail, or quit good jobs, start, give up, then come back to look for jobs. So having so many examples like that, so that again guided my thinking. So there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fears. But on the other hand, I was also seeing people who have successfully transitioned from employment and start a business. I could see how people have been able to make bigger moves in terms of career, create big businesses, and this is what was driving me. Of course, I done a lot of research, read a lot of books, and I could see. And one of the things that helped me, which I still believe in it even now, is information is everything. Look for information, learn from people who've done it. That really encouraged me to start.
All right, so let's look at your first day. Day one. Now you have started the business. Tell
Yeah.
us how you felt, what happened on day one, how you felt, and how you felt at the end of day one.
So what I had done before I even resigned, I had registered the business. So I had contacted a friend who is a lawyer. So looked for names, come up, give 3 names, search, then register the company. Then finally, when I left employment, I started looking for an office, and I started to look for people who we could now start as a team together. So in my first, I would say 3 months, I had thought I'll be able to open my office very immediately after leaving my job, but I found out now out here things are different. Where before I could take a phone and call a certain office, and they'll send a representative to come and assist me because of the size of where I was working for. When you're out here, then you realize if I need a license, either I pay somebody to go and apply a license for me, or I go myself. And when I go to the city council, I have to queue. So things I've not experienced before.
And here you are, the CFO.
Yes. So finally, one of my former bosses had a residential house in near Karen, which was vacant. So he graciously offered me space in that house. It was a residential house. So that was where I started off as my first office. Bought a few furnitures. I remember one of the things I bought was a telephone handset, because now in my mind I'm trying to set up an office. And in the first day, so we came, we spent most of the day trying to reorganize, trying to plan how do we start this business. And the day ended with us realizing how big this task is, because every little thing you want to get done, you realize you don't have it, and you have to build it from scratch.
Amazing. So take us to your first customer.
Yeah.
Or how did you begin to now look for customers? How did you put yourself out there?
So as I mentioned, that from where I was working, I was lucky to have seen a challenge. So immediately, and I had a very good relationship with my employer. So even when I left, I had informed them of my intention and the kind of business I'm going to start. So they are the first people I came back to and said, I have set up the company. This is the name. And I know you're having challenges with power. And I want to start. I remember our first site was in Naivasha, because I knew the Naivasha base station had a lot of issues. They used with frequent power blackouts. And what the then head of service delivery told me is, I cannot be able to give you a PO now. Go and do whatever you need to do in that station, and if it works, I'll give you an order.
So what was, Edward, what was the product? What were you doing for them?
So what I was doing was what we call a power backup. So we would get a UPS and an external battery bank. So connect to their transmission switch, provide it power from Kenya Power. So the batteries will be fully charged during when there is power, and then this battery bank is connected to the transmission switch. So when power goes, they will not face power interruption because the batteries are charged, and it will continue now running as usual, as if there was power. Of course, now that product has transitioned over time. And of
Tell
course,
us about the transition.
today, when we look back, I still have photos of that installation, and how when we compare to what we do today, we laugh about it, because we were still guessing and thinking on how to connect. There was a lot of cables. We did not put the batteries on a cabinet, so the batteries were out there exposed, but it worked. And I remember when they gave me the first PO.
Yes.
That was the highlight of the whole idea of starting a business and seeing really there's an opportunity to do some business here.
So tell us about the growth, because now you are this big company out there. Tell us about the growth trajectory. Did you have to look for funding? When you started, you obviously didn't have anything and all that. So, or did you have? And then how did you grow it?
I had some savings because I had come out from employment. And one of the mistakes I did was the change of mindset from working for a big company and going into a startup is that I engaged very expensive resources to start the business, because I'm used to people earning big salaries. So when I'm looking for a technical manager, I go out there looking for people earning the same level of salaries that I'm used to. So we quickly, in a span of, I think 1.5 years, I had run out of capital, and I started having challenges to meet the monthly payroll. So starting off, going back to your question, I used my savings, and then when I started having challenges, and then our build-up for customers was slower than we were consuming the cash, because we had one client, my previous employer. I started getting other referrals, but the speed at which we were acquiring clients was not fast enough to bring in enough cash to sustain the business. So what I did in the second year, I approached the bank to give us an overdraft. And again, there I was lucky because of my previous relationship with the bank and having been in the finance sector. So I was able to negotiate and we got an overdraft. But again, in year 3, we maxed out on the overdraft. And at that point, it's the time now I was starting to come to the eye to eye, and I realized the kind of payroll I'm having and the kind of business we are generating is not sustainable. So I had to let go some people and sort of restart the business. I also decided that is the end of 2013. I decided no, even the office we are holding is too big for our size. So I looked for a smaller office. And at the beginning of 2014 is where I sort of restarted again the business, because now I was getting an idea of how the world is out here. And this is in the sense that I need to start small. I need to start with smaller customers who are fitting what I'm able to provide now, and then grow, build in-house skills, start to build teams, start to put processes. Because another thing is, when you work in a big company, you find a lot of things already done. So you find already there's a system, for example, of say debt collection. There's an account opening process for a customer. There is a sales process. Now, when you're starting a business, you find none of these things exist, and somebody has to create them. And you only appreciate the importance of these things when you give credit to somebody and he didn't pay. And then you go to a debt collector and he's asking you, where is your contract? See, but we had a discussion. He said, no, you didn't have anything in writing. No. So such things. So 2014, I said, look, I'm still learning. I need to restart the business again. I can see, as much as we are not making money yet, there is opportunity in the industry. Scale down, start small, identify the key areas that I need to build on. I need to build a sales team. I need a competent technical team. I need to look for better financing. And then from there, grow slowly. And forget the bigger businesses. Start with a small business. We'll eventually grow to the big business.
And how did that work out?
It was very tough, because now I'm on year 4, depleted all my savings. The income is not reliable. But what kept me going was looking for information from people who've done it before, and attending classes like Eye to Eye, because you forget, it helps you see the bigger picture, and it helps you break down the problem into pieces and start solving, and getting your team members also to help solve some of the puzzles, so that ultimately everything forms together and the machine starts running. Because sometimes when you're in the middle of the problems, it's very difficult to see where to start.
I hope everybody is listening. You need to, if you have not yet registered for Imagine Yourself, you need to. That is where miracles happen. But tell me, Edward, where did the big break happen? Where did it have that big break? It was like, gosh, this is what we have been waiting for. And tell us the journey from there.
So the biggest, I would say the biggest break we got was around 2016. So by this time now, I have a team. We've understood our business. We've understood our product. Let me tell you, in the starting of a small business, you find a lot of businesses that don't even understand what exactly they do. So by that time, we could all describe the kind of business, who is our target customer. And we started getting now, where we are used to chasing for business, or going after people and knocking doors, things started to shift because we had built a name. We were starting to get referrals from customers. Around that time, I noticed a change even in our emails. We started getting more inquiries than even what we are looking for, than where we are going to look for new business. And we changed our approach, that we even started to have telesales people, where incoming inquiries, we started monitoring how are we converting all these inquiries. Number two was there's a friend of mine. At that time, we had gotten into a debt with the bank because of the relationship with the bank over the years and our resilience. The bank kept on increasing our facilities. And at that time, as much as now the business was growing, our debt with the bank was also growing, because once the business is the pipeline is growing, you need to scale up and have a bigger team to be able to handle the incoming inquiries. So you need more capital. So we kept on spending more and more money from the bank. And in as much as I could see now, we are in terms of profitability, we are breaking even. We still have this historical debt with the bank. And I was starting to feel fatigued and worrying, how will we get out of this bank situation? So I spoke to a friend of mine. He's been many years into the business. And I told him, business is growing, but the bank thing is also growing. And my worry is, are we ever going to get out of this? So he told me, no, if you have a bank issue, you need to make sure that you're in charge, and and you're monitoring your performance. So, and then he asked me, how much money do you owe the bank? So at that time, I think we owed the bank about 24 million shillings. And when I mentioned that 24 million shillings, he said, I thought you owed the bank over 100 million shillings. Only 24 million shillings. Are you worried? This is what is making you worry. That particular statement right there is what changed my outlook to the issues I was having. Of course, he helped me with things like go and restructure the loan with the bank. Change it from an overdraft to a term loan, that you start retiring it slowly. But that message that day made me realize that what I was seeing as a big monster is because I was going too close to the problem and not stepping back and look at the things holistically and see that these are the opportunities that are presenting themselves. This is where the money will come from. This is how we'll deliver the solution. And ultimately, this is where the money to pay the loan will come from. So I transitioned my mind from working in the business, and I started working on the business. So today I spend a lot of time helping my people achieve their targets. I train them. We do a lot of meetings to address issues, break down tasks that are ahead of us. And I stopped also getting involved in the day-to-day and serving the customer. I'm part of the process, but mine is a lot more into looking at that the process is followed on smoothly.
Wow. I mean, this is like Ken has said. Hello, Ken. How you doing? Like Ken has written, they are very practical, very, very practical lessons. I've been taking notes, and ladies and gentlemen, let me just reiterate some of the things I've written down. While he was in employment, he saw the problem. And I think that's very important. A lot of people are starting a business for the sake of starting a business. You need to identify the problem you want to solve. Make sure you know the problem, you have the solution, and not an assumption of the solution. A lot of people assume they have the solution. Make sure you have the solution and not an assumption of solution. Then another thing is that they are build good relationships. That's so powerful that he was able to go back to where he had left, and they gave him business. I think that's very important. Another thing that we saw when my brother was speaking last week, which I've heard again today, is you need to start lean. If you don't know how to go about, there's a book here, let me show you, that has really helped. This book, The Lean Startup.
Yeah.
The Lean Startup. It really, because a lot of times people go into business with a mindset of the companies they have gone to, companies that have started 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 20 years ago. They've built systems, they've built processes, they've built structures. You are just starting. You can't compete with them at that level.
Yeah.
And that's why at the Inspire to Inspire program, I kept telling you guys, in the battle between lion and the shark, terrain determines the outcome. Find your own terrain. Nobody was born weak, but everybody takes up an appearance of weakness when they're in the wrong terrain.
Yeah.
I found that is so crucial. When you are starting, don't try to start with everything. No, don't try to start with everything. We had done business for a while. We had big clients. We had all that. And I realized that, you know what? We were paying too much for appearances. And that's what it was. And I realized, you know what? We can operate from a small place, and then we can have our meetings. There are so many places we could have great meetings, for the appearances. But keep your costs very low. Very low. And I love what you said, about, now building your brand and all that. When you talked about owing the bank 24 million and somebody said, is that all? Yours is even better, I owed a bank in Nigeria equivalent of 1 million, and I couldn't sleep. I just couldn't sleep, and I remember a friend of mine now asked me, say, Wale, what's your problem? I said, I owe the bank this amount of money. He laughed. He now told me a story. He said there's somebody we knew who owed the bank 100 million, and the money finished without accomplishing what he was supposed to do. He said the guy went back to the bank and said, hey, you guys, your money, it has gone, but I can get it back. But to get it back, you need to give me another 50 million to get it back. They gave him, and that friend of mine, he had experience in dealing with a lot of structuring financial programs and all that. He told me, he said, when you owe 1 million, it's your problem. When you owe 100 million, it's the bank's problem. And that was, it was a very big eye opener for me. But this is really, really good stuff. So, Corona happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when COVID happened, you decided you were going to do something.
Yeah.
How did COVID impact your business?
So I remember in the first quarter last year, when we started hearing news that there is a strange disease from China, and China has taken measures to lock down the country. We never thought that would come to us here. We thought probably these are problems in the West and so on. But within a few weeks or a few months, the pandemic was here. And I remember the president announcing measures to lock down the country. And at that point, we could not even leave Nairobi. A lot of our business, a lot of our customers that we serve are spread across the country. We even have a few customers in Uganda and Rwanda. So that was a major blow, because we had even signed up a contract for countrywide maintenance with one of the local banks. So there was we could hear that you can get essential service letters but you'd have to deal with the police at the roadblocks and so on. So there were the challenges. Obviously, came business was disrupted, and I sat down and said, there has to be something out of all this confusion. And I remembered that one of the things that I can't remember exactly where I read. It says, whenever there has been a problem, this is historical. There has been times of war. There has been pandemics. In fact, when you read about pandemics, you find there was a Spanish flu. There was all this. So this is not the first time man is experiencing this kind of problem. The other thing is that the money that is there in the world has not changed, has not disappeared. The money is still there. It's just that the circulation has changed and the money is stuck somewhere. So for me, the opportunity is not to think of, because I could see companies making announcements that they are going to lay off people, they are going to reduce their operating hours. Banks were busy giving moratoriums to their customers. I said my job, I have two options. There is either go into the business that is taking advantage of the new opportunities that are presenting because of this pandemic, or look within what we are doing and see where is the opportunity lying. And we would sit with my team, would have Zoom calls and say, where is the opportunity in this particular time? What is the issue that, where can we provide service based on what is going on now? And I realized I would call certain people who are our customers, and they'll tell me, oh, sorry, yesterday I was not able to respond to your emails because I didn't have power at home, because I'm working from home. And this week I'm working from home, and in my area where I stay, we are having a power blackout. Or some clients would even write advance emails. We have a notice from Kenya Power that we are going to have a scheduled maintenance, so I'll be offline for this day. So before, we've been doing power backups for people at home. The challenge with the way we were doing before was that for me to come and do a power backup at your house, I will need to send a technician with the materials. He will do the cabling, connect you, and provide you a power backup. And that was also not possible because social distancing, you don't want to send your technicians in people's homes where it exposes them more to the current problem. But I said, when I look at what is critical now for these people, is they require power just to keep their gadgets running during the day. So they don't need to power off their lighting in the house. They don't need to power everything in the house. They just need to power their laptop, their internet router, and maybe charge the phone to be in contact with their workplace or with their customers. Now, the problem we were having is that the products that we were having, none of them you could sell it as a do-it-yourself product. What was close to what I had in mind is a UPS. The problem with the UPS is that it gives you a very little backup time. So we sat down with the technical team and said, why don't we design a do-it-yourself system that can serve the power requirements of somebody working at home? It doesn't have to be too expensive, because you have to put in mind that our normal backup system costs about 200,000 shillings. So we need a product that is affordable to majority of the people, that will serve their need for working during the day or during the night, for that matter. So we came up with different options, and we narrowed it down to a product that was giving approximately 7 hours. This again was informed by our research that showed most of the blackouts, especially in Nairobi, last between 3 to 4 hours. So we said, if you have a product that is covering about double of the time that the power is out, it will ensure that whoever needs to be online remains online. He would be offline because of other issues, but not power. So we quickly designed, contacted a factory in China, gave them the concept. They designed the prototype, shipped a sample. We tested, we were happy with it. And then we did our first order, which arrived in July last year, of 100 pieces. Now, the 100 pieces was sold out within 2 weeks. A lot of it we had already pre-sold because we started doing adverts saying, this is coming, book your advance orders. We started also going to corporate accounts, saying you can buy for your employees who are working at home. Some employers also became very ingenious, and they would give them to the employees and deduct from their salaries over time so that the employee can own and take responsibility of the kits. Then the biggest breakthrough in that product came from call center people, because now call centers are designed to have very many people sitting in a call center. And the sitting arrangement is that the people are close to each other, which was forcing them to have a big chunk of their people working at home. And now these people working at home, a lot of them, the areas they stay, they don't have power backups. They're not staying in houses where they have either maybe a solar backup or a generator. So we started getting orders from the call center. So that is what we've been doing for the time between July and now. And we've now subsequently internally set up a team taking feedback from the customers. What are they experiencing? What more features are they looking for? And incorporating them in the next batch of orders that we are placing. So essentially, we've started from a very basic product of power backup. Today, we have a prototype that the next batch we want to bring in a kit that has capability to charge with solar, has a lighter battery so that you can be able to carry it, move with it, changing because the first product was primarily just to solve the problem. Now we are even changing the outlook of the product, and eventually we are looking at having even a bigger product as a do-it-yourself kit, which can power your whole house.
And all this during the pandemic.
Yes. Now, one of the biggest things, again, which I didn't even mention, was we've been majorly a project-based company. So project means we go engage a customer, agree on the project. A few of the customers will give us a down payment, but then we will do the project and then chase our payment. This brought for us a new revenue stream, which is cash-based. Unlike the past where we had to give the customer and get payments, today the products we sell them, a lot of it, because it's a mass market product, we are not giving credit, so we are selling cash. So this has also been very useful for us for this period in terms of having better cash flow for the business. And this has really supported us during this pandemic time. So the result has been we have not laid off. Actually, within the period, we have added more people, and we have continued to serve customers that we've been serving before, and we've seen an improved turnover in the business compared to the previous year.
You know, guys, when we share these stories, you know, I told you about the Spanish flu, we told you about it, but right here under our nose, it is happening. Pandemic streams of business, of income are happening. And, you know, just listening to Edward, what is striking me the most is he's a deep thinker. I want to read something for you in a book that I read sometimes, something that is really, really, really affecting the way I am looking at life. This book, it's called Deep Work. and it's basically showing, deep work, and it's showing us how to think, deeply. And then there's another one here, the power of focus, and what I am learning from these books is, when we were small, we would take a magnifying glass and put it under the sun, at paper, and if the paper, it may, will go up in flames. And what simply happened, the sun has always been there. The paper was there, but the sun had no effect on the paper until you were able to divert and focus all the energy of the sun onto one spot. That is what deep thinking does. And this guy said something so powerful, that you want the kind of breakthroughs that Edward is talking about today. He says it's not going to come through shallow thinking. There are some things you just will not find in shallow waters. That's just the truth. I was thinking, and I sent out or something a meeting and talked about Instagram. Listen, 13 people. Instagram had a team of 13, 13 people. And they generated value. Listen, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion. 13 people generating value of $1 billion in a small room. The world has changed. Don't look at the new world with the eyes of the old world. You cannot use an old map to discover new routes. You thought that was something. WhatsApp had 55 people, 55, and they generated value. They were bought for $19 billion. 55 people. Do you know the number of people it would have taken in the past? The kind of offices, the kind of ads, the kind of thing it would have taken in the past to generate a value of $1 billion. We are living in a different world. We are living in a world where the deep thinker is producing the big results. The book I am currently reading, oh my God, that is turning my head around. It's called Atomic Habits. That's what I'm reading now. That's my 16th book of 2021. It's my 16th book. And this guy is turning my head around, because he's telling me here that success, the kind of breakthrough we want, is not going to be a big bang, but it's going to be little changes over a period of time. Little 1% change here, 1% change here over a period of time. And then he said, those little things you do are the things that now become your habits. He said, why it is important for you to develop the right habits is that habits are things you do without thinking. So if you have been able to make the things that will take you to your destiny, you've made them habits. That means your brain is freed up to now think of new things. I think that is so important. You heard Edward talk about how he's a reader, he's a learner. And I think this is important. Research, read, and then very importantly, Edward was not thinking within the context of, what is already available. He saw again another solution, another problem, and if he had to bring that problem, that solution from China, then so be it. Don't be so myopic. Don't be so closed-minded that you look around you you can't find the solution and you give up. Don't be, you need to think globally. Let me tell you what you don't know. When we launched the first Street University website in August last year, August 2020, we launched it. I will tell you what date we launched it. And do you know the first, the volume of traffic that went on that website? The thing crashed that same day that we launched it. It crashed. Now, people didn't know that. It crashed. But then two things happened to me. Number one, it was like, oh my God, my site crashed. And then number two, oh my God, you mean people want what we have that much it crashed? I hope you see the difference. And that's when we now realized, okay, we are not going to keep this thing local. And that's when we now found different partners in different parts of the world to produce little components here and there, to have what we have today. Edward, what is your advice? One thing that we're going to begin to have on Street University is the Entrepreneurs Clinic. My first patient, I didn't know she would be around today, but she's around. But the Entrepreneurs Clinic, where entrepreneurs who are just starting and all that can come and they can glean some wisdom from people like you, Edward. So that person who is just starting right now, if you were to mentor them, what are the 3 key things you will tell them to be aware of?
First one is when we talk of innovate, people tend to think too wide and get lost. Innovation can be as simple as just doing a process differently. And it could be just simplifying the process of doing that particular task. There's a new concept that has come around, which is called drop shipping. I don't know whether most people are aware of it. Today, because of technology, you can start a site, advertise a product that you don't have, get paid for the orders, pay the supplier, and the supplier will ship direct to the customer who has paid for it. It's called drop shipping. When I look at that model of business, it presents a very big opportunity for anyone who is willing to start and does not have capital. Because all you need is a very simple website or a platform like Shopify, and look for a product that is in demand at the moment. And to make it easier, there is a lot of YouTube and online literature guiding you on how to start up a drop shipping business. That's number one. Number two is start small, but make sure you are the best in what you do. Even if you're not the best now, put all your emphasis and focus and energy to learn as much as you can about what you are intending to do. And don't drop that ball. People like buying from experts. If I'm buying a product from you and I ask you 2-3 questions and you're not sure, it kills my comfort. It kills my confidence for me to give you money. But when I ask you information about the product and you give me more than I even thought about, I'm more confident to pay even a higher premium. People don't like buying cheap stuff. That's a mistake we often make. But people pay for value. I have seen people sell the same product. One person sell it at 100 shillings and the other person sell 500 shillings. They are both not manufacturers, but one guy is able to get 500 shillings from people, and he's not conning. It's because of the confidence and how he's presenting the product. I have seen people sell product that they don't even know how it's used or what are the benefits. And at the same time, I've seen people who present themselves as consultants. They describe, they will show you, and you will feel good buying from them. because even if I have any challenge with that product and I go back to them, they are very happy and they know what they are doing. Number 3 is you need to have a mindset of winning. Today, in the current scenario that we are living in, it's very easy to get into the depressed news and saying, oh, the president or the country or this. Today, I was speaking to one of my contacts from Pakistan, and he was telling me how they've been shut down. Power and internet has been shut down in Pakistan because of the ongoing riots. And I was comparing that. It's very easy to think, for example, that Kenya is in a very bad situation until you get to see what other people are going through. Even in that country, there are people who are living the best times of their lives. So it's a choice somebody has to deliberately make, that I am going to look for positive energy, I am going to look for opportunities, and I am going to utilize the resources that we have today, for example, the internet, to seek information. Like I've seen the 3 books you've recommended. For me, that's an eye opener. Those are books I look for to read, because I know I will learn something that I didn't know. Today, when Dr. You invited me for this call, I could have decided that look, I have nothing to say, and I would and probably do something that does not add value to me. By being in the call today, I've learned something. So, and that is the mindset to apply when starting off a business.
Fantastic, Edward. We are so grateful to have you. Just before I let you go, 2 things, please. People would like to know how to reach you. Bridget from Qatar desperately wants to connect with you.
Okay.
So please, if you can share how they can connect with you. Maybe you put your email address, write your email address, or just say it so people can do that. And then also, please, in 1 sentence or so, just tell people why they need to be part of the Reimagine Yourself program.
I've just sent my email on the chat. I hope people can see it.
Right.
I'll also send up my number. Is it visible?
Just okay. You go on. We'll fix that. We'll get it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So number 1, and I would like to borrow your words that you cannot find a new location using an old map. Joining the Street University, joining the Reimagine program, you are getting yourself out there to see stuff that you are seeing before, but with a different eye. You're putting yourself in a situation to learn. You're putting yourself in a situation of networking. You get to know new people. You cannot work in an island. Every day when you meet new people, you learn something from them. And lastly, you open up yourself to see opportunities that you do not see before. I know a lot of people get stuck on the starting point because there are opportunities right in front of them, but they've never looked at them as opportunities. Anytime when there are problems, for example, the pandemic, I've kept on saying is there has never been a time like now where there are more opportunities being presented in terms of problems. You can only get to see this if you train your mind, open your mind to look at these opportunities, and forget capital. Forget. People think that starting, you have to start big. What the biggest tool you need is information and networking with the right people who will guide you where to start.
Fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. Thank you so much, Edward. Edward's email address, I've put it there. So please reach out to him. And, I believe there's a lot you can learn also. And if you're starting out something, you need some advice here and there. That's why we are here. So thank you so much for being here today. I believe that some value, great value has been added to you. Edward, thank you for taking the time to be with us. We are so, so, so grateful. And well, we will keep calling on you, Edward. We will keep
Yeah.
calling. We will keep calling because I know there are people that just want to learn and learn and learn. So thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. We have another session next week, but sorry, on Thursday. All right. I have another special session for you on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. And those of you who are joining me tonight at the Ewale Akemi resource class, I will see you at 9 p.m. Till then, God bless. Join the Reimagine Yourself program. You will thank me later. Keep winning.